When you're reading a lot and get lost in the plot, that's hypnosis. In your car driving home and your mind starts to roam, that's hypnosis. Feel the joy of romance, time flies by in a glance. Vita Bella. Lost in trance and you find that your mind starts to dance with this fella. And if all your hopes survive, destiny will arrive. I'll bring all your dreams alive for you. I'll bring all your dreams alive for you. Oh, I can't break away. I must have you every day, as regularly as coffee or tea. You got me in your clutches and I can't break free. You're getting to be a habit with me. I'll take Manhattan. You're getting to be a habit with me. Let's do it, let's do it. You really have to have some trust. I won't exempt you, I won't tempt you, I want to drive you mad with lust. No cautions, just contortions, missing guacamole on my lower portion of crust. Let's do it tonight. I can't do it, I can't do it, just refuse to get unzipped. I can't do it, I can't do it, I'm worried that I'm ill-equipped. Don't believe, I can't fully guarantee you'll have to use a rope and pulley. I can't do it, I can't do it tonight. I have died every day waiting for you. Darling, don't be afraid, I have loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. All along I believed I would find you. Time has brought your heart to me, and I have loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. I can feel the thunder, sparking up the rangeless thunder. I'm not alive again, I'm thunder, sparking up the rangeless thunder. Thunder, thunder.
Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of Richard Skipper Celebrates. Who or what are you celebrating today? I am wearing prison orange today because today is National Handcuff Day. You can do whatever you want to with that. And that, of course, was Sarah Carson. And I'm going to be bringing her on in just a moment. She's got an incredible show that she is currently doing at Don't Tell Mama. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But today our show is about hope. What gives you hope? How do you give hope to others? How do you express hope through your art? Those are the things that we're going to be talking about today. And I'm so excited because the first time that Sarah Carson appeared on this show is right now. And here she is. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Richard. Thank you so much for having me.
I am so glad that you're here. And you have this show. First of all, I love your accent. I just love it. A Welcome in the Hillside, my love letter to Wales.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the show and how it came about.
Well, it really is a love letter to Wales. I am half English, half Welsh. My mother was born in Wales and all my maternal side are from Wales. So that's where the idea came from. Now, I also absolutely love tracing my family history. It's like I'm the keeper of the family archive. I have all the stories, I have all the old photographs, and I've spent decades as one of my other passions, aside from cabaret, is doing family history. So it's really important to me to honor those people who came before, because I just wouldn't be who I am without them.
And there are so many beautiful, beautiful stories and tales. So it just felt the right time and the right thing to do, is to do a story about a whole show about my Welsh side and my Welsh ancestors. And it's not just about my story, it's a little about Wales as well. I mean, a lot of people here don't know very much about Wales. So you'll learn some things as well about the country of Wales if you come to the show. Yeah.
I want to ask a question. I just got to know from Elena that she's having trouble hearing you. Robert and Scott, are you able to hear Sarah? Nod if you are. They're not. They can hear you. So, Elena, the problem is on your end. I don't know what's going on, but we're here, and Robert says he can hear you. Which came first for you? Are you an actress as well as a singer?
No, not at all. I was a school teacher for many years. I taught kindergarten, first and second grade for many, many years, then changed into becoming a hypnotist. I know. I was a clinical hypnotist for about 20 years, and I'm just kind of beginning to wind up that and retire from that. But that was my second show. That was called Strange Magic, and that was all about the unconscious mind and hypnosis, which was a great fun show to put together. But I've always loved singing.
Hypnosis to cabaret.
Well, I suffered from horrible stage fright. I absolutely loved singing. I knew I could sing, but I really suffered badly. And for years and years, it just held me back until I had hypnosis. And I was like, wow, that completely changed things for me. And I became fascinated by it and wanted to study it. And that led to that career. And it just seemed to me that it was another aspect of me that people were always interested in. And I thought, wouldn't that be interesting to see if I can even put a show together that brings some of these themes, these ideas. And it was a little bit of what I call edutainment. So there was a little bit of kind of teaching as well as entertainment in the show blended together. So
now, was one able to hypnotize themselves, or is this something?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you are?
Oh, yes, very much so. In fact, we hypnotize ourselves all the time to believe certain things or to disbelieve certain things, particularly about ourselves. You know, I believe I can't do this, that, or the other.
And you can convince yourself that you can.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there are ways and methods. Now, one has to study and learn some methods to do so. But yeah, it's entirely possible. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. As a singer, I mean, you obviously, as you just said, suffered terrible stage fright. And believe it or not, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that is the number one fear
of
most people speaking in front of an audience. I love it. I love being there. But what is your ritual before a show? Do you still experience the stage fright as you're prepping to do a performance?
This is such an interesting question, because I do probably about as much mental preparation for a show as I do learning lyrics and learning music. So they, for me, absolutely go hand in hand. It's going to be too late if I'm standing at the back of that room, seconds away from standing on the stage, to start thinking about, oh, perhaps I ought to do some mental things to help myself. So I start.
I'm so curious about this. I want to do a whole show on this. What are some of the rituals that you have? Right. Obviously, you're prepping yourself to do the show before going out on stage.
One of the big things I do, and this is something I do in advance and I do in that instant also, is kind of future rehearsal, future preparation. So I visualize myself on the stage. I'm seeing myself on that stage and everything is wonderful about it, right? And then I will also then kind of melt into myself, if you like, and I visualize myself looking out, because I know what that's like as well, at the audience, and everything going right with that. So that's a lot of the things that I do. Another beautiful thing that I add, I mean, I've done 3 shows and all of them have been in the Brick Room at Don't Tell Mama. And there's like a little double door area, just, you know, just before you go into the Brick Room. And I imagine in my mind that that room is filled with sparkles. And as the second door opens to lead into to the brick room, that spark, all those sparkles become a pathway leading up to the stage, and I can see the entire stage is filled with sparkles. So I'm walking, as I am now walking towards that stage, I am just surrounded by all those sparkles, and sparkles for me is one of my kind of confidence.
Me too, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So we're going to bring on our next guest, but before we do, I want to ask you, because today our theme is about hope. What gives you hope when it comes to your craft, the business that I don't think that we choose this business. I think it chooses us. So what gives you hope in today's world of entertainment?
Oh, so much, because any of the arts, and my art is cabaret, it feeds the soul. It feeds my soul. And I hope not only that it continues for always to feed my soul, but I hope that some of that extends to everybody in the audience as well, and that the show will feed their soul as well and take them to a new place.
That's wonderful. So you're going to bring on our next guest.
Yes.
And you're like the Monty Hall. Do you know who Monty Hall was?
No.
He was the original host of Let's Make a Deal.
Okay.
But so you're going to pick door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3.
I'm sorry, I lost you. I heard you. Door number 1.
Door number 2, door number 3.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go right in the middle. Door number 2.
Door number 2, and I'm thrilled that he's going to be here today. We have met only virtually, but he is, speaking of sparkles, he is the Judy Garland expert. And he has this incredible book, The Voice of MGM. I absolutely love this book. But one of the other things that I love that Scott does is he has chronicled Judy Garland's entire life. And I mean day by day by day. So Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Sarah, hi. Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you too, Scott.
And Richard, actually, I did see you in person at the opening night of Hello Dolly, Bette Midler.
Wow.
You were coming in. We were stargazing from the side, you know, watching all of the people come in. And I really wanted to yell at you, but hey, look, it's me. But there was so much going on. I didn't want to catch you off guard or anything like that.
Scott, it takes a lot to catch me off guard. So Scott, I want to ask you, I mean, since Sarah grew up in Wales,
I grew up in England.
Oh, you grew up in England?
I grew up in England, and it's just my family, my mother's side, that are Welsh. Yes.
Where in England did you grow up?
I grew up just north of London.
Okay.
Yes.
Where exactly?
It's in a town called Harlow, which is a very new town that was built after the Second World War to house people who had been bombed out of London. So it's a very modern and new town. Yeah.
Well, I'm asking you this because Scott, being the expert, he knows about London's and England's love affair with Judy Garland, which still goes on. So Scott, what would you share about Judy and London?
Well,
what happened on this date?
Oh, I have to look at my website because I don't know everything in my head, and I'm terrible with numbers anyway. I'm a very visual person. I joke with people and I tell them I'm PowerPoint, I'm not Excel. You know, it's all about the images and everything. But no, for Judy Garland, I mean, London, you know, England, that was her second home. She loved it. I mean, that's where she started her very famous concert years, not too long after leaving MGM. And she got her feet wet, so to speak, at the London Palladium. And that's where she started her concert years. And then she did a little tour of, you know, England and Scotland and everything, and then came back. And then it was on the back of that success that she came back to the U.S. and opened at the Palace in 1951, which was the big, huge, giant, you know, bringing vaudeville back to the Palace. And she was a record-breaking hit and all of that. And then she also made some of her best studio recordings for Capitol Records in London as well. Oh yeah, yeah. And I love London. I've been several times, been to England just a couple of years ago. My husband and I toured all over the British Isles. We hit every single country and had a fantastic, wonderful time, of course. But I'm going to have to look up the date while you're talking real quick.
Well, before you go there, wait a few minutes before you do that.
Sure.
Because, Judy going to London, and I know this, knowing her history, not on the level that you do, there was a lot riding on that because of her, being let go from MGM and, in the next chapter in her life. And when she walked out on stage, she literally and figuratively fell on her keister, as they would say.
She did. That's right. That's right. And because she was so nervous, of course, speaking of nerves, you would think that someone as great as her wouldn't be nervous, but just like all of us going on stage, we have, everybody, I think it's normal to be nervous, but she fell, and then she had the audience in the palm of her hand because everyone just applauded and cheered and everything. And she felt the love. And then that kind of made her, according to her, that just made her sort of go do, okay, and then she did the show. So that was a little bit of, she was lucky in that respect, I think.
Scott, what do you feel that you've learned about yourself from immersing yourself so deeply into someone else's career? Especially Judy Garland's, such a, I like to focus on the positivity of what she brought to the world, but It was tragic that she left us so early. And I remember the day like it was yesterday, believe it or not. But what have you learned about yourself from covering and celebrating Judy Garland?
Well, about myself, I would say, the reading and learning about her helped me be a little more confident in my sexuality and myself. I learned that I too have strength of character and perseverance. When I was growing up, Richard, I think you and I are at the same age. And I remember, when she died and everything as well, I was, what was I, 8.5. And my mom brought us in from playing to see the funeral on TV. It was on TV and it was at Campbell's, and that famous footage, bringing the casket out and everything. But no, the more I learn about her, the more I realize that, we're, regardless of whether how famous you are or not famous or your struggles, we're all very, very much the same as people, as human beings, I think. But it's really helped me just, like I said, come to terms with, when I was a kid, I was chubby. I wasn't actually fat, but I was the fat little sissy boy. And, just immersing myself in her. And of course, it started with The Wizard of Oz, just like every one of my generation. And The Wizard of Oz was a vehicle of escape for someone like me, who was the young little gay boy who didn't think that there was any place for him, but there was over the rainbow. So that was, that was the appeal of The Wizard of Oz for someone like me. But no, it's just really helped me just be a stronger person and help me not sweat the small stuff as much. Of course, some of that comes with age too, but it's just, and it's also actually broadened my knowledge and my love of just music, good music of any genre, I mean, like, I'm not a big country fan, but there's a lot of country I do like because it's just so good, that sort of thing.
Well, let me ask you this, and then we're going to bring on our next guest. When have you experienced art giving you hope during a personally difficult time? And what shifted in you?
Let's see. That's a good question. So what of art affected me? Is that what you're asking?
Art that's really touched you. Obviously, Judy has touched and affected you on levels a lot deeper than they do with most people. You devoted your life to this.
What was that last part? I'm sorry.
You've devoted your life to this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've always been so fascinated with her life from the very first, when the book started coming out a couple of years after her death. But art that has actually, you're kind of going to laugh at this because this actually has nothing to do with Judy. But when I was with the San Francisco Silent Film Festival, I was on the research committee, and we were given a film to research each year, and we would write the essay for the program, and we would get the photos and everything, to play ahead of the films. And one of the films they showed one year, which was not my film, it was someone else's film, was King Vidor's The Crowd. And it just stuck with me. And to this day, it's just one of those moments of seeing or experiencing a piece of art that just sticks with you. And the whole story is all about this young man and his new wife. And he's so hopeful. He keeps saying, my ship is going to come in, my ship is going to come in. And it really never comes in, and he's just, the reason it's called The Crowd is he is one of the crowd. He's like so many of us, an everyday person. He's just a regular guy. And it's just so moving and so touching to see him go through all of these life experiences, but he still has, you're talking about hope. He still keeps this hope of, my ship is going to come in. My ship will, things will get better. Things will get better. And that's one of the things that just really stuck with me. And that was a few years ago, but I always think of that as far as like art impacting you. Of course, Garland's performances and her movies and everything have an impact on me, so that's to be expected. But no, I mean, anything can impact you. You don't have, like silent film. Obviously my forte is Judy Garland, and that's, the talkies. But being on the Silent Film Festival was amazing. But also, just experiencing that. You don't have to know about silent film or anything to experience something like that. That kind of, like I had with The Crowd. I mean, it's just one of those movies.
That's great. Well, Scott, you're going to look up what happened with Judy, especially you get bonus points if it took place in London. But you're going to bring up the next guest. So pick door number 1 or door number 2.
Let's do 2.
And I hope that she is able to hear everything. Elena, you're muted.
Yes, so I am.
There you are. So how are you?
I'm well, darling. Thank you, and thank you both, Sarah and Scott. Once I logged off and logged back in, I could hear you perfectly. So it was just a connection glitch.
Great. So Elena, you can build upon anything that you've heard us talk about, or you can take us in a completely different direction. On hope, and what gives you hope nowadays?
That is a lovely question to ponder, and certainly point out we're all in great need of it, perhaps now more than in a long time. And I was thinking the other day that it did me good to hear Billie Eilish give a shout out at both two different award ceremonies to not only having her give her own donations to charities, but also to criticize other billionaires for not doing so, and call out the the state of affairs in terms of politics right now, which is not really a political situation. It's a moral situation, in my opinion.
I totally agree with you. Elena, you and I are pretty much in the same age range, give or take a year or two. And we've been through a lot in our own communities and everything. How do you feel that you have used your own art? And I know the answer to this question already, but how you've used art to give people hope through the work that you do on stage and off stage.
Wow. What's, gosh, just you talking about how when we first met, which was right in the peak of the AIDS epidemic, and we lost friends. I mean, I lost 3 of my closest friends, all friends of yours as well.
Mm-hmm.
Few years, and every week you would notice somebody was missing from our circle downtown, and it was just it's extraordinary how much we all love one another and remember everything so fondly, and then to think about how incredibly horrible and sad so much of what was happening at that time was, and what got us through were things like being together and performing for one another, and doing that wonderful organization Hearts and Voices, call them, and learning how much hope was actually fostered in the environment of cabaret and the nightclubs, and the cabaret shows, and the camaraderie, closeness, the intimacy, and the deep connections that we felt with each other, and being there so supportive of one another always. Just really a unique time, both in a tragic and in a hopeful sense. And so I think from that I have so many dear friends left from that time, like you and I both, that we run into each other still, and Facebook and Instagram keep us linked even when we don't run into one another, and these wonderful podcasts that you do and various friends of ours have done. It never doesn't make me feel happy and joyful and creative and lucky and hopeful.
That's great. I don't know if I've ever asked you this. Where are you from originally?
I was born in Manhattan, and grew up in the Bronx, in Riverdale, down by the riverside, Cape Cod, during the summer. So hence the brown accent, which also has a very heavy Connecticut influence from my grandmother, who sounded just like that.
And when and how did you discover the world of cabaret, or did cabaret discover you?
Yes and yes. Judy Garland was a very big part of it, and I'm hardly the only girl or boy to say that. But I discovered the music through films. So at first, I just was fascinated with movie. I mean, I loved all musicals. I loved the school musicals, the summer stock musicals we went to, the Broadway musicals we went to, but the films really grabbed me, and not the least of which, I mean, The Wizard of Oz was an event every year. Sarah, I don't know about you in England, but here in the United States, it showed once a year, and so everybody watched it. It was a shared cultural experience. It was a big deal every spring. You were so excited. And there was nobody not watching it. So.
Well, it's so funny that you say that, because, I mean, for me, it's almost like I can pinpoint memories of my family around that film.
Sure, me too. Yeah.
Just incredible.
People don't understand that there is no home video or anything. There was no that. You only had that one chance to see it, and every once in a while they would run it in the theaters, for a cycle.
Right.
But that was the big kid event too, especially. We'd talk about it, and then the next day go to school and everybody talked about it. It was, like you said, a shared cultural experience. So wonderful.
My own, one of my favorite stories is I, instead of studying for the SATs the night before, I watched The Wizard of Oz. There was no way I was missing The Wizard of Oz.
Well, Sarah, was this a part of your culture growing up as well?
Oh, absolutely. My father would tell of the story, because he was a very little boy when it first came out, that he was beyond amazed when everything turned from black and white to color. He'd never seen anything like it in his life. So that was one of his favorite films. So if it was ever on the television, and similar thing, we had 3 channels in Britain back then when I was a kid. And if you missed it, you missed it. There was no video or DVD then. So yeah, it was definitely a big thing.
But I remember when we got our first color set. I mean, that was a big deal to see it that first time in color. Because I had been watching it in black and white the
Yeah.
first times that I saw it. So Scott, what did you find?
Okay, so I don't have anything that she was doing on this particular day, February 20th in England.
Okay.
I'm sorry. But on this day in 1966, this is kind of fun, she taped her appearance on the Kraft Music Hall for NBC TV with Perry Como and Bill Cosby. And let's see here. It said, while waiting, okay, this is some of the little tidbits. While waiting, I can't even read my own stuff that I wrote. While Judy was waiting in the wings to go on stage, wearing that gown engulfed in feathers, just big feathered gown, she folded her hands into her arms, clucked like a chicken, and said if she had to wait any longer, she would lay an egg in my dress. So, you know, that of course she would deliver better than I just did, but that great Garland humor. But yeah, she's saying What Now, My Love, Just in Time, you know, all of that. And of course, her and Perry Como, you know, what a duo.
And it is on YouTube, everyone, so you can go and
It
watch.
is, yes. All that's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Thank God for YouTube.
Absolutely. Elena, I'm going to ask another question, and then we're going to bring Robert, who's been waiting patiently in the wings. But do you believe that artists have a responsibility to offer hope, or is it simply telling the truth enough?
I would say that it is our responsibility to tell the truth. If we can do so in a way that offers hope as well, that's wonderful. But I know obviously the truth in some areas is more subjective than others. So one person's truth perhaps is different. However, I do believe in a universal human morality and sense of goodness, and I think that if you can communicate that, it needn't be literally spelled out. I think as we all know, Judy being a great example of someone who gave so many people hope without ever singing a song or an anthem or something specific to causes. She spoke to people about dreams and about hopes and about goodness.
Well, speaking of hope, next Thursday night, Robert Dreimeyer is going to be at the Laurie Beachman. There he is. And he is doing a show called Broadway Barfly. If I remember in my notes, Robert, you started out behind the bar instead of in front of the bar.
In what way? I've never actually been a professional bartender.
Oh, I thought that you were.
No. Broadway Barfly started, well, I mean, I've always just been a drinker, you know, like that. So I'm familiar with the cocktails. Broadway Barfly really started as kind of my COVID project.
Okay.
So I guess there was some hope there of like what's going to come out on the other end of it. But the concept, I don't know where the concept came from, but the first video I made was on an impulse the week of the shutdown, you know, when we knew we were going to be locked down. I had this impulse. I ran down to Target, bought a little tripod and some accoutrement, made a video of myself making a sidecar, and talked a little bit about how it was mentioned in Auntie Mame, and, you know, send up a light breakfast, black coffee, and a sidecar, and said, you know, as long as we're locked down, I'll make these videos and we'll have a cocktail and talk a little bit about some cultural aspect to them. And I posted it, and like the next morning, it had like 1,000 views, and people in the Facebook family said, "Oh, that's a good idea. You know, we need something to keep us together." And so I did that for about 2 years. And after about 6 months on Facebook, I migrated it to YouTube. And then because of my friends Tommaso Cardia and David Parr of Boundless Theater, once the world started turning again, they had some connections with a place called Zoe Clubhouse, which is a sort of a corporate country club of sorts. They have clubhouse spaces at Rockefeller Center and the Spiral, places like that. And they invited us to do some tasting events. So in that sense, that's kind of when I started making cocktails for other people. We would host an event with a tasting flight and do a little almost TED Talk sort of, you know, how it was made and where it came from, and made these little events, which gave way to it getting into this cabaret show world. And it kind of brought me back from having been away from the stage for a long time. As a kid, I was as a teenager and 20s, like a singer dancer type. But it was that brought me back to performing again. And I've been enjoying, just as a little sidebar, all of this Wizard of Oz talk, because completely unrelated, I spent most of last year in Oz, so to speak. I played the wizard in The Wizard of Oz on Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas for 7 months. So
Wow.
I was completely immersed in Oz for 2025. So yeah.
You said that you were away from it for a while. What took you away and what brought you back?
Well, what took me away was producing. Actually, David Parr, one of the Boundless friends of mine, wrote a play that I was involved in, and silly me said, well, let's produce it. How hard could it be? And I found out exactly how hard it can be. But that was a catalyst for me producing in general. And I've, in that time, was involved in some Broadway and off-Broadway shows, sometimes in a lead position on smaller shows, or a more of a financial role in the small or the bigger productions. And what brought me back really was Broadway Barfly. I hadn't thought much about performing, but the first time I did this show was about 3 years ago now. We premiered at 54 Below, and then we did a second time out at Green Room 42. And that actually got an agent from doing that. And that was sort of, and of course my type is very different. You know, I wouldn't have played the wizard 20 years ago. But so yeah, it brought me back.
I mean, is there a specific room? I mean, obviously you're going into the Laurie Beach. Is it the Laurie Beach for next week, or?
Yeah, the night before you.
The night before me. So you're going to warm them up for me.
I hope so.
I know so.
We'll liquor them up at least.
So is there a specific drink that's going to be associated with your show next Thursday night? I call the show, my little plug, it's a musical journey through Broadway's fabled nightlife. And we explore cocktails with origins in the Great White Way. So there are 8 cocktails that we talk about that have some sort of Broadway or New York nightlife connection. We do via video mixology demonstrations. And for anybody who wants, the club will make a tasting flight of 4 of those cocktails. And so if you order the flight, then you can drink right along with the show and taste them as we progress along. The sidecar will be one of them. The others that are on the flight are a Jerry Thomas Manhattan, a Zaza, and a cocktail called the Cabaret, which is from the 1930s. That's incredible. Well, the very first show that I did in theater was Mame. And there's a lot of cocktails throughout Maine.
Yes, there are. I had to make 2 videos for it.
But I mean, there was a time, I mean, in movies, television, I mean, if you watch Bewitched, I don't think there's an episode where they're not having cocktails. Right. Not one. Yeah. And I read that this was very much a part of the making of the show. Do you think that there was a glamour that went with that world? Do you think that is still very much in place? Or do you think it's changed as people have gotten a little wiser to some of the pitfalls of alcohol? And Elena and myself, we grew up in the bar scene. So we've seen it all.
Well, I mean, I don't think the pitfalls of alcohol are anything new. Maybe our response to them is different over the past couple of years. I think there was a glamour that has sort of faded away. At least in my head, I wasn't there 50, 60, 80 years ago to know how down and dirty it might have really been, but it's certainly represented in history as glamorous. And so in both the tasting events and in the cabaret show, I think we try to recreate that. We try to give people an experience of some nightlife event that maybe you can't get anywhere else. So as far as today, I mean, there are all kinds of bars. You know, there are certainly very nice cocktail bars one can go to, heavy duty mixology bars. There are trendy bars that do cocktails. There are, you know, your old standbys like Bemelman's and places like that. And the thing that I really appreciate about it is that experience, like the cultural experience of it. I always say that my favorite part of the going to the theater is going out afterwards and having the drink and talking about what you just saw. You know, it's like sometimes I could just cut straight to that. And so that's what is special to me about cocktails, not so much the alcohol, but the social experience of how we have them and why.
Well, Elena, I'm going to go to you for a second because we did grow up in cabaret. We both basically hit the scene around the same time. I actually have this nostalgic pull to what those days were like before people were on their social media devices all the time, where people went to these bars to communicate with each other, to be seen, and to celebrate each other. Do you have the same nostalgic pull on that?
Absolutely. And I also frequently comment with friends of ours how lucky we were that nobody had cameras back then.
Yes.
Amen.
As nostalgic as I am, and how I wish that, you know, sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish we had film of that, or I wish we had. Then I'm like, maybe I don't wish that. Maybe with not having all of that.
Well, let me ask you, and I'm going to put you on the spot, Sarah. Is there a moment, either shared on stage or off stage, where you to this day say, thank God there was not a camera present?
What a question. I'm sure there are. I can't think of anything on stage right now. Off stage, probably far too many for a lady to mention.
Oh, good for you. I'm going to play a little game with each of you. It's not a game, actually, but in our remaining moments to talk about hope.
May I?
Yes, Elena.
Before we move on completely, Auntie May, of course, being one of my favorite films of all time, but also Topper. There's that wonderful sequence, which I remember so joyfully, quickly forgetting that after the sequence of them going from Old Man Moon in one bar to another, and they're playing the same song, Old Man Moon, in every single bar and a different feel to it. And what a delightful scene that is, and how clever. Of course, they die after that. They have a bar accident. So there was no awareness of the risks back then, even before The Lost Weekend, which is, of course, a brilliant Ray Milland performance. But yes, I think by and large the glamour of Hollywood, and in the 1980s and 90s, we were all sort of, it was retro cool, retro chic to sort of have that cocktail glamour about it, and it took its toll, and I gave up drinking some time back, and
that's good.
But at that time, I never thought it would become a problem, and it was indeed great fun.
And at the time, it was not a problem for you.
Right?
You didn't think it was.
Exactly.
Right. And The Thin Man. I was watching The Thin Man the other day.
Yeah.
Perfect example. Brilliant.
William Powell.
Brilliant.
Nick and Nora glasses comes from that.
What?
Nick and Nora cocktail glasses from The Thin Man.
Brilliant.
That's great. So Sarah, I want to ask, how does creating art help you process either uncertainty, fear, or discouragement?
Ooh. Well, I think it comes back to hope once again, right? Anything that is creative just brings such joy. And in those moments of joy, it helps us to overcome any issues or problems that we may have, or at least put them aside for some time and realize that there is more to life than those moments that are more negative in our lives. And I think that sometimes we can get very caught in the spiral of things not going our way or things not being the way we want them to be. And so to have the balance of something that is so beautiful and just fuels and feeds us is so important in life.
That's great. Great answer. Scott, can hope exist in art that is dark, challenging, or uncomfortable? And how do you think it can?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I think I've always been kind of a Pollyanna anyway, and I just feel like there's always hope. I think if you lose your hope, you're in trouble. I mean, you can lose it and get it back, but yeah, I think. But as far as dark art, of course. I mean, I think it's whoever is experiencing the art will hopefully get some hope out of it. Like no matter how dark it is, they can see, I'm just spinning here, but they can see possibly like, I can still come out of that, or that character can still come out of that situation. And I think for the artist, because we're all artists in our own way, I was in a dance company back in the day too. So, but I think as artists, I think creating dark art is very liberating for people and helps them get through whatever they're needing to get through at the time, and probably gives them hope, like, wow, I did this and I've exorcised that demon and now I have hope. I can go on and I can, I can see a sun coming up on my horizon, kind of thing.
That's great. Elena, the perfect question for you. What role does community play in sustaining hope through artistic collaboration?
You must be psychic, because I was going to say that that's where my greatest hope always comes from, is collaborating with somebody else and the unique creations that come out of.
And I want to give a shout out to Fred Barton.
Absolutely, yes. 100%. Who also is a denizen of Oz.
Yes. Scott, are you familiar with Fred Barton?
I know the name, but I haven't met him.
Classic. Elena?
Miss Gulch Returns was his cabaret show created.
Oh, that I know. Yes. Okay. Yes. I know who you're talking about now.
He is my dear friend and collaborator of many years now, the arranger and orchestrator of my big band album, A Wrinkle in Swing Time, and my constant partner in crime in doing shows and concerts and traveling the world, and all sorts of wonderful stuff that we've done together. And we talk about it with each other all the time, what it is to perform with one another versus performing with other people. What a unique connection he and I have and have had from the get-go.
Just the best. I just love him so much.
Me too.
And he's great to work with. So Robert, I want to ask, have you ever created something that gave someone else hope before you even realized it?
Honestly, I think the Broadway Barfly YouTube videos at the beginning, people would send me messages or pictures of things that, like, they tried something that I made with the little message of, just sitting here at home, it's COVID, nothing's going on. And so I hope at least that sense of connection, I mean, giving them hope might be a little bit of an overstatement, but at least to feel connected, which I think was important at that time.
Well, this podcast is a result of COVID as well, and where that all started. So I've got a question that I want to ask each of you, and then we're going to talk about your final comments for the day. And the question is, What or whom did you make better today? And I'm going to start with you, Sarah.
Well, interestingly, my doorbell rang on Tuesday night. My first show was Wednesday. And there, standing at my front door, was my brother, who had flown in from England to completely surprise me to see my show. And he just left 5 minutes before we went to...
Well up. That's amazing.
So I hope that our experience made us both better.
That's wonderful.
And, yeah.
Scott, same question.
Yeah, well, actually, today has been a very boring day because I've been home alone working from home all day today. So I haven't had any contact with anyone except my husband. And we always make each other's day brighter, I will say. After 26 years, we're coming up on our 27th anniversary. And so we prop each other up, definitely, for sure. We're kind of yin and yang. Sort of, he likes Judy, but he's not like crazy into it, because if there were two of me, it would be insane, So yeah, I'll say him and our little dog, Seamus.
That's wonderful. Elena, same question.
Well, we had a volunteer here all of a sudden.
I saw that.
So other than enjoying this little one and her sister, I have a friend in town for the Winter Film Festival that's going on at the Regal Cinema, Union Square. And so we've just been making plans to which of the blocks of films we're going to.
That's great.
Giving health tips on how to deal with shin splints and various medical advice.
Wow. And Robert, same question.
Well, kind of like Scott, I've been home all day by myself, so it was a pretty low-key day, but I have been emailing, messaging people, of course, about the show next week, which has actually resulted in some nice little exchanges of people who, had I not been pushing the show, might not have caught up with in real time today. So I don't know if I had any effect on them, but certainly hearing back from people has made my day much better.
Well, you've all lifted me up today, and I'm sorry that Jeremy Sussman. I hope you're okay. He was scheduled to be here as well. Marty Millett originally was going to be on the show, and she's a little under the weather. There's something going around, so everyone be very, very careful with that. I'm going to give each and every one of you a chance to have your final say today. It could be about anything that we spoke about that you want to build upon. Anything that we didn't talk about that you wish we had, or just any final message that you want to leave everyone with. I will pick one of you, and when you finish, you will pick the next person, so on and so on. And when the last person says goodbye, I will end the show. So you don't have to worry about how do I get out of here. I end all of my shows with the same message, and that is to go out and do something nice for somebody else without expecting anything in return. I know that each and every one of you, I think you're all on Facebook, you have this little device. After the show, I want all of you on the show, and I want everyone watching the show, either live or later, to go to your Facebook friends list. And the 9th name in that little box, there are 9 names. The 9th name, reach out tonight with a phone call. Not an email message,
lovely.
Not a text message, not an inbox message, a phone call. And let that person know that they matter in your life. I have a dear friend, I think, Elena, you know him as well, Sean Moniger. And Sean says, we're all in the same storm, but we're in different size boats. And I always say, I don't care what size boat you're on, as long as you have a skipper by your side. And with that, I'm going to leave the screen. And Sarah, I'm turning it over to you.
Well, I just would like to say the biggest thank you to Richard for having created this wonderful podcast back in the time when we needed it so much, and continued it, because we do need and continue to need this kind of community, this supporting and love of each other. So I would like to leave us all with the idea of continuing to love and support each other. And I'm going to pick Scott.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, I was thinking about when Richard told me that the theme was hope. And I know, in our crazy political times right now, and how torn apart a lot of us feel, and how separate and everything we all feel. And it's made me think a lot about, I grew up in a military family, and we lived all over the world. We lived in the Middle East and Europe and everywhere. And there's one thing that I wish, and I really hope that people could come to understand, is that no matter how different we think we are, we're really the same. No matter where you are. I mean, when we lived in the Middle East, it wasn't any different. The language was different. The food was different, and it was great, and religion and all of that. But everybody was the same. It was just people trying to pay their mortgage, their rent, raise their kids. Everyone, we all have the same hope. And my hope is that everyone in the world right now can be more together and more loving of each other, despite the differences that they see. So that's my wish for everyone. And I think I'm going to kick it to Elena.
I could not hear him, so I don't know which of us he designated. Was it me? Okay. Skipper, what a delight, as always. Best of luck to both you and Robert for your Laurie Beachman shows. And in terms of giving hope and doing something constructive, everybody can call their representatives as often as possible, drop an email to. And Richard, I don't know about you, none of my friends will actually answer the phone if I call anymore. They will respond, you make a date on a text, but actually calling someone out of the blue, none of my friends will answer that. Anyhow, thank you so much for a delightful time, and lots of love to everybody.
Which leaves me, I first have to say thank you, Richard, for having me today. I was a longtime listener, first-time caller, and it was very nice meeting everyone else, Scott, Sarah, and Elena. I'll hope I did a little research before this podcast today, that there's an archaic definition to hope, which is akin to trust. And so that made a lot of sense to me. I don't think we can hope something without trusting that it can actually be. And so I guess I offer that, if we hope something, let's also just hope that it can be. And of course, if anybody is free on Thursday, the 26th, and wants to come down to Laurie Beachman Theater and have a cocktail with us, we'd love to have you there. And so with that, Richard, thank you for having me, and good night.